Welcome back to Tyler Talks. I'm your host, Tyler, who talks. I'm not going to spend too much time on this deck. It is 53 cards, so a little higher. It's a prototype or a draft. Um, it's kind of nativity, but hand control. And I wanted to show a couple kind of what I like to do. And other than that, it's just Herod's. I wanted some cards. I wanted a little decent defense with some star cards that I could also have um, that helped me. Like I wanted delivered. Reprimand works for my offense, and so does Fourth Bowl of Wrath. So Herod's made sense. With Nativity, I feel like a lot of people play Nativity with Nativity and maybe like some angels, but it's mostly just Nativity. Um, I mean, you get Temple Veil, that's great, or you can get like there's plenty of bounce cards. Um, you don't need Temple Veil in this deck actually, but I have Lazzy and Bethany or Martha. Um, I personally think you should take the best of GOC and kind of slam it together. You could easily like ride on an impartial judgment with tokens is phenomenal. That slides right in with nativity. This is more of like a numerous deck, um, to where I'm not reliant on numerous as the stars, but it is pretty fast deck, um, and I can get out some cards or search and get to Magi and get to numerous. It's really not that hard. Or I can just get to Emmaus Road and get to it and play it in battle. Um, so I do like to get out my heroes. It's definitely hand control as well. Like you get Martha and Simeon, and you also have First Sacrifice, Teaching in Parables once you snag Zacchaeus. And then what else do you have in here? Yeah, so First Sacrifice, Teaching in Parables, banding in Martha, and you're still hitting their territory with Mary and Zacchaeus and negating. It's just mostly all the good stuff. So like we always see gospel good stuff. Um, I think this is just the surface. You can very much just put in like Matthew and Simon would choose the blocker and AOC and tokens and impartial judgment with right on. There's really no need not to do that. And then if you want, you could still get the consistency and some of the strong attacks of nativity and just having these stars, numerous sets of stars. John the Forerunner is extremely good. I personally think you can build a deck around him completely. Jay said he's a win con. I just think he wins, especially with cards that are like Burning Up the Chaff and Mary Holy Virgin and Zacchaeus with 20 shekels and Holy Grail and Stocks, Tubal Cain. Um, he's just very, very good. So if you look at their hand with 20 shekels, you put them down, you can get your hand down. I know this deck doesn't look like it gets its hand down. It very much can. And it doesn't matter since we don't really have enhancements and we're blocking with characters that we can just Herod the Great, Temple, or Prevent the Next and block. Like, you don't need a lot of enhancements. So picking Herod's was an easy choice because I wanted these enhancements that also work for my defense and my offense, and have some star cards for numerous. So it just kind of made sense. Herod the Great is phenomenal. And then one aspect, I don't think people realize this, but St. Patrick with Glory of the Lord is an absolutely ridiculous amount of case studies for how good this combo is. The fact that I have a 3 Brigade GOC star card that's meek as a priest is amazing. And it's like not that necessarily meek matters in for this just at face value. But the fact that you can do so much with Meek and have, like if you're using Love One Another, like if I play Glory Lord with Love One Another, Glory Lord with Great Commission, it's just, there's literally nothing the opponent can do. So I absolutely think that people will watch this video. I put it in one of the Discords. I think people will watch this video and realize, oh, this is very strong. My opponent can't play enhancements and I can. I've used Church of Christ before. I only know of one other person that's using it. I was dropping tokens left and right. If I can play characters from your hand and I have Love One Another in here, like, there's nothing you can do. It's regardless of Protect, Glory Lord. I mean, maybe you can Chronicles or Three Woes. That's about it. So, extremely strong attack right here with St. Patrick. And then that's why I brought in Consecration of the Priests. So a lot of enhancements, but I always have a bunch of stuff to play. And we're drawing and searching anyway. Consecration of the Priests on St. Patrick is really good. Also, it's white clay, so I do have Lazarus. And it being white clay, I could play it on St. Patrick. And if I flip Lazzy, then I still have Martha Lazzy, and it just goes with the offense. Just a really good card in general. They got an Underdeck and Evil card from hand, and then you get the bounce. Very good on Joanna. So if you're tossing the next, it's very strong. So of course we have one big band in here. I would like to have another. It's just so good to band a bunch, but between like St. Patrick, First Sacrifice, Consecration with Glory is good. Big Band with Glory is good. Star of Bethlehem with Protection is good. And the Resurrection with what we can do with this offense. And then the Territory Destruction, the Hand Control. It just attacks in a lot of different ways. And sometimes I think Nativity. I was talking to Babooni and Jay. And I personally think the meta is heavily going to shift to Nazareth with Thebes. And a lot of people are playing Nativity right now. I was talking to Rob Smith about this too. A lot of people are playing Nativity. It is very strong. Guardian of your Souls doesn't bother it. Holy of Holies really doesn't bother it. Your best attack is usually Mary Holy Virgin, especially when she's protected multiple times. Pot of Mana doesn't hurt it. So Nativity is just built to not be hurt by a lot of hard counters. Nazi hurts it, but you could play Nativity with Nazi and go more of a drawing route instead, which is very easy to do because of Star of Bethlehem. But if Thieves are coming back into the meta, I don't know why they ever left. If Thieves are coming back into the meta, Thieves with Nazareth whoop up on Nativity. You can debate me all day on that. Nativity generally runs a few setup enhancements, and then they have a couple battle winners in the main deck, and they have heavy reliance on the reserve. So they need their banding to work with their protection, or they need to access their reserve for their battle winners. If Thieves come in and they prevent the next and take something from your hand, you're not going to have anything. And Thieves can band, so they don't care either. So I do think if you're looking to play Nativity in the meta and you're looking at Nationals, you need to play it differently. Bring in Heavenly Host with tokens, or bring in Disciples with Church of Christ and have Impartial Judgment. Bring in St. Patrick with Glory Lord and Love One Another. And time your attacks too. You could always push out stuff, but know what are your big attacks. You could save for that too. And for me, I mean, we have enough years, literally over a decade of hand control in Type 1 and Type 2 winning Nationals. It seems like every year that there's some sort of hand control, whether you look at Posties, Laphis, Speed Camp, Roman Genesis back in the day. Hand control is always, Jeremy's Assyrians with Roman whips. Hand control is phenomenal. What Jared just won with Jehu and hand control. Ashkelon's out there, but I'm talking just national winning decks that I listed. Judge Widow with Justin. There are so many hand control decks that have won nationals with different ways. Look at why that is, and if you're like, oh, I'll just protect myself, I'll have hand protection, just assume it ain't gonna work. It's just not. Like, unless you can pop down stable and have the protector lost soul, so your hand's protected, you're gonna have to layer your hand protection. And if you're not layering it, just know your hand's gonna get rocked, and more than likely you're gonna lose. If the opponent's playing hand control and it's very good, those decks tend to win at nationals. Keep that in mind. So I was making a Nativity hand control to kind of give myself additional attacks and pressure with Nativity. So that's all I got. Pretty much use like the fast, speed, lost souls, protecting evil humans in my territory from harm is always nice to layer with temple. You can go a lot of different ways with lost souls. I already talked about glory. Glory with Herod's is really strong too. It should always be a block. Mayhem for the additional speed. Star of Bethlehem, I turn into burning up the chaff and flight into Egypt. And I can reserve and delivered. And I try to do that twice with Mary coming Prince. That's pretty standard. If I get that twice, it'd be tough for me to lose the game, I would, in my mind. Your normal stuff, Resurrection, get all those guys in battle. I don't have Toss the Next. I would just look at a deck with John the Fisherman because Resurrection gets him out, Peter for Drachma if you want, and St. Patrick, and create tokens, and have at least Martha and Lazzy, run Simeon, run hand control, run Zacchaeus, toss the next, band a bunch. That's it. You're hitting hand control, play right on, and just destroy your opponent. As long as you can block, you're good. So I think you should be doing wheat and tears into a right on. I think you should be doing mass banding and hitting their hand or their territory. I think you should be running first sacrifice and teaching in parables. And I think all of those brigades with gospel work just fine. And I still think it's arguably the best deck out there. So I wanted to make a draft just to kind of show everyone. We'll do a quick run through. I have a bunch of prototypes on this. I just simply can't do all the videos. And I can't like lay out all the decks, test them all, and play them. So I try to show the best overall like draft version to where other people can take the ideas and run with it. So from here, I would make sure the order is look at a hand before you do the Magi, but delivered can go. It doesn't matter which way delivered goes. I like to look at their hand first and then delivered. Personal preference. If you have a tough time remembering, maybe you do the Annunciation at the end. Either way, look at the hand, discard the top card of their deck, and then we top deck a New Testament star card. But we know we're going to draw into it right here. So we know that whatever we take, or whatever we top deck, we get to immediately take. And honestly, we already have the Annunciation, so that means we get the Resurrection and just kind of go off. Now, since I'm already doing a line of sight on my play, I'm already telegraphing not telegraphing necessarily. I am showing a little bit what I can do because they are seeing the Annunciation, they are seeing the Magi. My thought process is to underdeck a card from hand, go into the Magi, and have the Annunciation snag the Resurrection, and then I can rescue with Magnifying Multitude with my hand being very low and band in. Like I can search for Res Revealer and band in Magi, um, and still have 2 cards to back it up and have a negate. So it's not horrible. I'm just making sure there's nothing else. Like a Martha turn 1 is very good too. Martha turn 1 with Resurrection might be better. Okay, we'll do it. So all that stuff. So that's done. And then we have to decide, what are we underdecking? This is my only enhancement for evil, and I do have an 11-9 with a negate. So I do want to keep that. I just saw their hand, so as nice as it is to have 20 shekels, the only other card maybe is Delivered, because I just don't necessarily, like, I'm not going to use it right now because I have Annunciation, and I'm going to use my territory class on Annunciation. I could put Delivered under my deck to where I could trigger the star ability again. I also like having Delivered to go to New Covenant if I want. So I think I put 20 shekels to the bottom to draw into Martha. And we wanted to keep Herodias to Agrippa to where we can lock down their reserve right away. And now we know that we're going to have hand advantage like immediately, because we're going to play, we can put Martha down, put Magi down, and play the Annunciation. And then we can attack with Martha. And then if we already saw their hand, so we know if they have a dominant, we could just play the Resurrection right now. Or if we need to play it after they block, or if we need to play it at all. So they would have to reserve an evil card from their hand. Then we can say we could play it. We do like having Stable out very quickly. Between the reserve access and the protection, it's just nice. It's hard to not have amazing value with Resurrection, but we really don't have great value with Resurrection this early in the deck because we want those other heroes. I would still have hand advantage. So I get to go to my deck for a star card. And I kind of want to make sure I win this battle. So I'd feel good about this attack. They had started with 8 cards. Let's assume they had, I don't know, 3 or 4 evil. It's not like this is a great attack first turn. It is good, but being able to have that backup Magnificate should do the trick. Don't need to put Herodias down yet. A Matthew would feast right here for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That would suck, but nothing we can do there. The best we have is using our Banish an Evil Human in play and an evil card from opponent's hand, which I hate losing that, to have a negate on a Herod Agrippa if needed. We can top deck a Nativity hero from deck. We just don't have a way to draw into it, and we're just going to search anyway. So we go into our upkeep and take a Nativity card. I like having a Nativity hero when I have Child is Born. If they blocked me or something, I could Holy Grail. If they have anyone down this early on, I'm more than likely going to do a Holy Grail, put down Herodias. I don't have any other territory class I would want to play other than Delivered. And then I would have to decide, do I go to deck here or do I go to reserve? I think we start building up our star cards for numerous. So we take a Gospel Star enhancement. And now we have 5 in hand, 3 of which are stars. I feel good about this attack, and they have hand advantage more than likely, and I get to take a star card, and I can just get ready for my numerous next turn. And then I could always get more star cards next turn. It's okay. So once I have initiative, get a Nativity hero from reserve, and I can ban up to any number of New Testament heroes. And then opponent does have hand advantage, so they do have to underdeck an evil card from hand. Have to reserve an evil card from hand. I can snag a GOC Dom. That's good. And then I get my draw 2 with my negate. So I already supplemented my stars that I got. Put my number right at the same. Doing a pretty good job of negating evil cards here, and they're down 2 evil cards from hand. So pretty strong attack. And I don't have a negate to back it up, but between Magnifying Multitude and them losing 2 more cards in their hand, that's pretty good with that many heroes in battle. They could keep like a scattered if they were holding multiple in their hand. Remember, I also did a Holy Grail, so theoretically they would have to have an evil character in hand or an extra character in territory. So pretty difficult to deal with that. I do want the drawing here. Whether or not I put down Herod the Great or Herod Philip. It'd probably be Herod the Great. I don't have the negate though. I'm trying to think. So yeah, more than likely my block would just have to be Herod the Great. And I very much want to play Herod's Temple and reserve the top. Choose the hero, reserve. Usually that's a block this early on. Once again, we like 20 shekels. We don't have John the Forerunner or anything we really need 20 shekels for right now. So we can just throw it back under. Upkeep. And we're taking a Nativity card, and we do want the extra star. And we're going to check our reserve real quick and kind of see what do we need. Yeah, we're going to want to take Emmaus Road with New Covenant. From here, we're good. We have a massive numerous play, and that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 star cards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 heroes. 1 card that net me 5. That's pretty darn good. And that was my territory class, so I don't have Flight into Egypt, so this was actually a misplay. That should be in reserve, and Flight into Egypt should have been in my hand because I actually want to use Star of Bethlehem. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 nativities. And now we can just go ahead and play. I want to double check. Are we going to max out our hand with drawing? Just in case. And then we'll play Star of Bethlehem. We got to pretty much do this next part pretty quick because we are out of time. I like to differentiate these to where what's in discard pile and what's not. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we get to draw up to X, and Wouldn't the limit go drop to X? I think we had to put it there. Um, yeah, I guess not. I'm just rambling. So we get to discard an evil card from their reserve. We get to look at their hand. We get to discard the top card of their deck. Those all go back. We get to play a Lost Soul from their deck, and we get to protect good Nativity cards from harm until the end of turn. Not bad. And now we can do... Usually, we don't have to do a band here. If we're protected and get a like Coming Prince, that's not bad at all. We also have a band to where we just have Magnifying Multitude, and I can still put down cards to get my hand down, and I could have a band like Magi to Magnifying Multitude. Not horrible. So it's really just a matter of what I want to do. No, that's nice. Probably just would go ahead and play those since I just played a Lost Soul from their deck theoretically. And I'd be a 15-15. That's protected with Glory Lord, 3 woes, and enhancements to back it up. That's pretty tough to get around. It's really tough to get around. 9 cards in hand. I can put down Herod Philip. Opponent gets to do something now. I can go Herod's Guard, prevent the next. And I can go right back to Herod the Great. So I'm preventing the next. If I want, I could choose the hero, prevent the next, see what they're doing, or not even give them the time of day and just toss. They'd have to do some sort of dominance to get around. That should get you a block, maybe 2. Usually you're going to see a 3 woes dropped. And that way I still have a Herod's Guard, Herod the Great, where I'm still preventing the next with a woes in my hand and a Glory Lord in my hand. So I should be able to offset what they're doing and get the additional block. Really all I want is 2 blocks. That's really it. And if you say why, like why do you only want 2 blocks? Because this offense should do the trick. I can look for one more Nativity card. Okay, and it's not there. And now it's a matter of we can get our hand down and have John the Forerunner. So if they have hand protection, I can get around that. I don't have to do 20 shekels. Something else I could do is flipping this over, going to Teaching in Parables, dropping Zacchaeus, and playing Teaching to Parables. That's extremely strong because if they have anyone else in their territory, I just reserved one of them, I can just attack and reserve the other. So that's why I like having Hospitality and Bethany in here. If I change the deck, I would definitely bring in probably Jairus' daughter or John the Fisherman. I'd probably do like a full overhaul, to be honest. Like I said at the beginning, John the Fisherman, Simon Peter, 4 drachma, and then bring in like another mass band. And it would really be like a full-on hand control craziness. From here, I would hope I would have hand advantage. I assume I did because they were at... Oh, I missed Mary's. I assume they were at... Mary takes a star card from reserve. That was the whole point of going in with her to get Coming Prince. Hand advantage if they were at 8 and I push and get to play a card. And then I get to play band to an angel. And then I could either bring in Mag Multitude, or I can just go straight into any of my other heroes, or I can go into their deck. I think this would be the best. I like making Angel Appears like off Mary. I think this works extremely well, and most people either don't play this card or they play it in territory. If I can play another territory class and have Mary and play Angel Appears in battle, That's a lot of value. I feel like Jake would do that. Um, and then I can flip the draw, negate evil cards. They gotta get a card from their hand, and I still have other things to play. So just a really strong offense, and it brings in other win conditions into whatchamacallit, Nativity. If their hand gets too big, Mayhem doesn't do too much, but I can definitely shift it around a little bit. I don't need Mayhem anymore. And honestly, that's why I don't like having Mayhem. A lot of times, if my hand's good and I've already kind of gotten the burst, there's just no need for me to play Mayhem, and it almost feels like I should have Angel of the Lord there instead. So, as for the defense, I still got my little chump. Like, if I have to, Herodias, Contagious Fear, that's okay. Giving the reserve access back at this point is fine. Preventing the next, choosing the hero, and having a negate with woes is also good. Preventing the next, Herod the Philip, Herod the Great, and Glory and woes is also good. Herods are pretty easy to play, and they're strong. They just kind of do everything. That's why people gravitate towards them, and that's no offense to anyone. It's just why not? They're so good. They do so much, and this guy's phenomenal. And then, let's just drop Herodias, and we still get her daughter as well. So, I don't know if I would do Herod Archelaus here to top deck a dominant from each hand and lose my Glory Lord. Because I think at this point, I know I don't have anything with stable, and I'd look at my reserve before I need anything for New Covenant. We never took Burning Up the Chaff before Star of Bethlehem, and I kind of thought that would happen, that unless you're more methodical about it, you're going to get this on the second time, and it's not really a ton of value. So I wouldn't top deck anything. I don't even think we need New Covenant. I almost feel like if they have anything down, I flip this over. If they had Territory Class Protection, I'd play woes. I really do just want to make sure they're all gone. Coming Prince. And then if we want, we could go in and just we can just take Star Bethlehem. We would have to make sure we have hand protection or a hand advantage, so that's another thing. I wouldn't have actually had that. Would have had to put Herod Archelaus down. That would have been in deck, and I wouldn't have had hand advantage at all. So actually that wouldn't work. So I'd have to go into, which is fine. I'd do it this way, where I just get to draw 2 and immediately activate Star of Bethlehem, and I get to do all my stuff again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't need to draw the rest of my deck or really do anything else. So they'd be protected. I'd be a 15-15 that's protected, and I can drop Glory on top. So very strong offense that I think can be even better, to where you're really not letting the opponent do much. And I think the meta is going to be a little bit grindier than normal if you're able to get a couple protection rescues and able to do the hand control aspect and get rid of a few key cards. You should be able to win those grind out games. So I hope you enjoyed. It's just a little different take on Nativity. And like I said, I think people should look at Nativity and kind of bring in the best aspects. And because Star of Bethlehem, the fact that you can do Star of Bethlehem twice and get 2 good bands, like those aren't even the strong bands in Nativity. You can get way better. I just forgot about Gabriel being down. Like that. That's it right there. big bands that are protected. You can draw. You can get a lot of value on stars. And really, the last thing I would do is take this out for hospitality. Deceiver to 2 ball with stalks is kind of cute. Probably don't need that either, and that gives you more room in the reserve. Yeah, so not bad. Different look at Nativity. Herod's is Herod's. And that is all I got. So we're getting into tournament season, or we're in tournament season. And I think there's a bunch of Nativity decks running around. How do you make them different? Because Jake has been whooping up on people with Nativity all year. I would think people have a good look at that deck between Jake showing it, doing a full-on like breakdown, posting his deck and playing it for a long time, and Baboony Tim doing a masterclass video on Nativity. You should know how to play Nativity, know how to play against Nativity. So then it comes to, well, how do you make it different? And how do you make it better? And that's kind of where I think that's the point of the video today. So there's plenty of ways to go. That's kind of the point of my channel, to show a little bit more competitive decks to push the ideas of people. And we will go from there. I'm going to be out of town for a week. So this will be my last video until probably Wednesday. So I hope you all enjoyed, and we will talk later.